Elections. It's round 5 of 2024. It's going to be the Blues and the Crows, and this new show just keeps ticking along. I've got just Ari. I had like an adjective for you, but I couldn't think of one.
Come on, think of go.
I was going to say esteemed guest, but like you're not esteemed. You're just, Ari.
I'm just O. I'm just here. Yep.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
How are you, mate?
Tired still after the weekend's antics.
What kind of antics? What are we talking about?
Just enjoying the football on the hill for 4 days in a row. Haven't looked at the expenditure over the weekend, which I'm scared. I'm very, very scared to do. But no, we're ticking along. We're ticking along. Well, we'll recover. We'll be fine, I'm sure.
Yeah. I saw some video. I have not been to the hill. I've been to Adelaide Oval, but not been to the hill. Pretty cool concept they got there, but no allocated seats. So if you're standing behind someone that's just taller than you, then too bad.
Yep.
Did that happen to you?
What do you think?
I don't know. Maybe you got there early, like got yourself in the spot.
No. That was very much. But I'll tell you what I did. The screens at Adelaide Oval seem to be slightly more in sync
with the game action.
With the game, yeah. Oh. Maybe I was kind of gaslighting myself into thinking that, but from what I was looking, it was very much like very similar. So you can watch the screen, which is good when you're on the hill and you're short like me and can't see. But also the hill's not necessarily to watch football; it's to enjoy the atmosphere and the vibes and just a bunch of people enjoying themselves, which is good. It was a good vibe. Very different vibe of the footy that I've had over that weekend. But no, I'm not going to complain in the slightest. It was very good, very entertaining.
Would you do it again?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Tomorrow.
Yeah?
Yeah, tomorrow. Yep.
So good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that was that. And this is now. You were in Adelaide. Now we play Adelaide.
Yes.
And we're going to go through and talk about some of our memories. We're going to talk about our best memories. We're going to talk about our worst memories. And then later on, those of you watching at home can add your memories against the Adelaide Crows. And we do encourage that. So after Ari and I have gone through our 2 matches, all of you will be able to go through yours, and we will just recollect everything there is to recollect about the Adelaide Crows. So we do say g'day to Christian, to Chills, to Jay, to Kate, to Jay, to Unbranded, to Brandon, Stats Legend. Wow.
Oh, well, man of the people.
Okay. Dione from Laos. Hello, Dione. Thanks for joining. It's a big night tonight. There's a lot going on. Yes. Ari, do you want to start or should I start?
Who started last week?
I think I think you started last week. I'll kick us off.
Yeah, you kick us off.
I will kick.
I actually, this is for just a peek behind the curtain. For the first time, I don't know which game Terry will be doing. So everyone's reaction is going to be the same as mine. So
true. I haven't told you. Well, okay. So I initially was going to do the 2020 match against the Crows where we chaired off Gibbs, but I realized I did it last year. I was like, I don't want to harp on about it too much. I've already made my position pretty clear on how I felt. But you'll see why I'm picking this game when that information comes to you.
Okay. Yes.
Go. Okay. So the year is 2011. The round is 5.
Right.
How old were you in 2011?
7 at round 5. That would have been what, April? So maybe 7 or 8, depending on. No, 6 or 7, depending on.
Okay. All right. Well, let's just see how you go with this. A few bits and pieces about this game. Sam Jacobs debuted for the Crows.
Well, yes, very good.
In this game, it was at the then known Etihad Stadium. Yep. Correct. Sean Hampson dislocated his finger in the warm-up.
Wow.
He played, but he dislocated his finger in the warm-up.
There you go.
David Allard and Aaron Joseph came into the side for Lockie Henderson and my man Andy Collins.
Wow, there's some names. They are some names. There you go. David Allard, what a player.
Yep. 17 seconds into the game, Eddie Betts kicks the first goal. He was under the pump.
Was he?
That week? Yeah, it wasn't kicking many goals, under the pump, and kicked the first goal of the game. Tex kicks the next one. Carlton kicked 4 goals in a row in the first quarter, including 2 by Andrew Walker. This was the year that Andrew Walker kicked 56 goals in the season.
Yes, boy, we could do with him right now. As that target. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So quarter time, Blues are up 35-8, looking good. Then the Crows enter Adelaide. They kick 4 straight in the second quarter. We were held goalless until 20 seconds to go in the second quarter. Andrew Walker takes a screamer and puts through our first goal in the quarter. And it's 48-38 at halftime. Cracking game here at Etihad. It was goal for goal in the third. Tex and Andrew Walker going 1 for 1. We get to the fourth. Scott Thompson takes a little mini hanger on Jordan Russell, who was playing for us at the time.
Yes.
And he puts the Crows in front with 11 minutes and 11 seconds to go. Make a wish.
I just did in my head, so there you go.
This was at the time when you had the 5-minute countdown, 5-minute warning.
Channel 10 Prime.
Yeah, correct. So the clock goes down and then all of a sudden it starts counting up. So David Allard kicks a goal to tie the game. Sorry, Scott Thompson puts him in front. Yep. David Allard kicks a goal to tie the game at the 21-minute and 44-second mark of the final term. And then our man Jordan Russell kicks the game-winning goal or the clinching goal, 23-minute, 12-second mark of the fourth quarter to put the Blues up by 6. We win by 6, 11 goals, 1985 to 12 goals, 779 in a thriller at Etihad Stadium. And I think when I saw the game winner from Andrew Russell, I was like, that's the one. I did contemplate doing 2012.
Jordan Russell.
Yep, Jordan Russell. What did I say?
Andrew.
Did I?
Yeah. That would have been something. Yeah, that would have been something.
Sack Russell.
Sack Russell, yes. It's his fault. Everything's his fault.
Yeah. So, that was that. Do you remember anything from that game?
Absolutely none. Absolutely nothing. I learnt of that result as you were speaking. So that was beautiful play-by-play synopsis of the game. Mad.
Do you like that one?
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, no, very nice. 2011, that was the pinnacle almost of the first rebuild.
In hindsight,
in a lot of ways.
Yes, it was.
In a lot of ways.
We had played finals 09, beaten by Brisbane, which we covered a few weeks ago. Then we lost to Sydney the year after in 2010. But we were still quite young. 2011, it was like, oh, wow, this is the real thing. They've started to arrive. And that was the most enjoyable year of my life prior to last year. Because we were on the up. It was looking good. We were winning these types of games against, solid opposition. And it was a good year. We ended up, smashing the Bombers in a final that year. And then we lost to
West Coast.
Oh, West Coast.
Walker was held. Yeah, I'm sure maybe we can cover that at some stage.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we play the Eagles. I'm sure that'll come up.
It's good. It's kind of interesting, like the Crows there's never been any real similarities or parallels with Carlton and Adelaide throughout, especially modern times. It always feels like obviously teams are always kind of linked in some way. Obviously, Carlton and Collingwood are always linked in some way. Carlton and Essendon are always linked in some way. I feel like us and Brisbane have been linked over the last kind of half a decade, close to a decade, because of the rebuild. They actually did a proper rebuild, whereas it took us 4 years later than when we actually should have done it, and we were both bad at the same time. So that's kind of always been a subconscious link that has been made between two clubs. There's been no real connection between Adelaide and Carlton, which is quite interesting, because I feel like they're a club that they're a club that you don't really see, probably barring post 2017, haven't really been bad. I can't remember them being truly bad. Obviously, with the exception of like this poor period that they've just probably come out of now. Obviously, the year after this, they were a kick away from they were 4 points away from a grand final, and we fell away. So it's quite interesting kind of juxtaposition in a sense that you look at this game and then you look forward kind of 16 months from that moment and the complete difference between both of those two teams. And then 12 months after that in 2013, they don't play finals and we're through to a semi. So it's interesting how footy can kind of shift and change within a matter of kind of weeks and years.
Very true. I had a player with a stat line that I think you'll be able to guess. So I'm going to put the test to you.
Okay. I'll back myself in.
Yeah, I think you'll be okay. So this player had 34 disposals on this day.
Well,
17 kicks, 17 handballs. Laid 7 tackles, 6 inside 50s. Who was it?
Go again.
34 possessions, 17 kicks, 17 handballs, 7 tackles, 6 inside 50s.
I mean, it can't be one of the big boys, right?
What does that mean?
Like, it can't be a Judd or a Murph.
It can be anyone you want, mate.
No, fuck, sorry. All right, Judd.
Judd, is that your final answer?
Sure.
All right. Well, it's not Judd.
Yeah, I thought so.
Maybe.
I'm trying to think of our midfield. Our midfield that time, 2011. This was before Brock McLean, wasn't it?
This was.
He was still at Melbourne
before Brock McLean. Yeah.
He was at Melbourne
before Brock McLean.
Yeah, so that was the player that initially came to my mind. I don't think Robinson would have had a game that good, surely.
Robinson did not have that good a game. He had 17 possessions that day.
Yeah, right, there you go. I see Gibbs in the comments. Is it Gibbs?
It wasn't.
No, interesting. Can I have a hint? Maybe a clue.
You can have a hint. This player played at least 5 years afterwards. So what's that? 2016. This player was still playing for Carlton.
Heath Scotland?
No, but he had 30 possessions on this day.
Close. 20. So he played at least. Interesting. So like old, not old, but like at the time, like senior and established.
Yeah, like is in put in a solid shift for the footy club. Yep.
God, got no idea. I know this player.
You do.
Yeah, I know this player, and I probably really like this player.
I'm really disappointed, if I'm being totally honest.
Wow.
You know what? Marcos will just come and fix it for you. It was Marc.
Right. Well, that's not.
Yes, Marcos. So, Ari, fair enough. You're a bit young. So you don't actually remember Prime Murphy. Is that right?
No, God, no.
Bro.
Well, my version of Prime Murphy is the second half in round 23, 2013 against Port Adelaide. That's my version of Prime Murphy.
Nah, wow. Who can I compare it to? I'm not joking. It's so 2011 Murph was Errol Goulden, but better.
Wow, that's a high bar.
He was like Errol Goulden, kicking goals every week, inside, outside, bursting away from stop. Errol Goulden, yeah. Without the wing minutes, it was like pure midfield. He was that good.
Wow, that's a high bar. Errol's great. So I'll definitely take your word for it.
Yeah.
I do obviously hear the stories and look at the accolades and see the Coaches Association award. And did he win finals MVP, or am I making that up? Or he played really well in the 2011 final series, or
who? Murph?
Yeah.
No, he won the AFL MVP of the league. Yeah, and the Coaches Association.
The Coaches, that's what it was. Yeah. So obviously you hear the stories, you hear the tales, and obviously like remembering that like early 2012 as well, he was exceptional. Like So that's probably my first like real recollection of him consistently anyway. And then even 2013 as well when he was captain. Yes. Yeah. That's real. That's like the Murph that I kind of have always
That's
like.
crazy.
That's the word
Wow.
Murph that I remember. Like
I
like
didn't.
that 2013, 14. That the Murph that I remember, and the reason why he always sticks out to me was because he so easily could have left. And no one probably would have begrudged him for leaving at certain periods of times. And I think he's come out and said in interviews about like the Malthouse era and his thoughts on that, and the fact that he stuck through with all that and didn't really get much reward at the end of it. I feel like has always meant a lot to kind of not like I would say people in the generation of like us where like we went through the shit period and we stayed with it. So it's good to see a player who could have jumped off stay with it as well. So I feel like that's why he's very
Wow.
much appreciated.
Wow, that
By
I
people
did
in
not
our age.
realize that. I did not realize how different our Murphy experiences are. Because yeah, I guess
Yeah.
Murphy was like, I guess what Sam Walsh was to you. For me, when I was
Yeah.
18 or 17 or 18, Murph came into the league, and out of all those number one draft picks, he was the one I would say who actually fulfilled his potential and got the best out of himself and became the player that we hoped he would be. Cruiser, look, injury had a part to play. Gibbs was good. I don't think, looking back now, I don't think we got the best of what we thought we were going to get from Bryce Gibbs for long enough. He was a team player. He was a good player, but I always felt that he had more in him. But Murphy
Yeah.
didn't. Murphy reached the peak, and then the hit happened, and then I started seeing all this like slander, and like for whatever reason, a lot of the supporter base forgot about how good
Yeah.
Murph was.
That only really happened later on, though. No,
Happened from like pretty much when he became captain. Yeah,
it's the burden of the captaincy, though,
it's the burden of the captaincy. Yeah, and the
which has
frustration
been,
of the supporter base.
and it's the because not only you're now not only judged as a footballer, you're just judged even more as a leader,
Yep.
which compiles everything. Because when you're the best player in a team that's underperforming, now the criticism comes out, okay, you're good, make this team good. And when you're not doing that, you get criticized. And now it's also you're the leader of this team that's not performing. You're being criticized on that as well. And I think it also kind of flips. I mean, when you look at Cripps kind of now and last year, the praise on him probably in the second half of last year more so, and like the start of this year, the praise on him has been he's so good in such a good team, but he's also the leader of such a good team, which is the praises the praise is amplified and the criticism is amplified because of the same thing. I just feel like he couldn't have been captain of the football club at a worse time,
It's
which
true.
is just the victim of a horrendously unfortunate circumstance.
Yep. So that was Murph, and that was round 5, 2011. What have you got? Also, guys, I did see some of you put your Adelaide memories. Beachy, I did see yours. We will get to them after Ari has done his. We will get to yours. So feel free to put your Adelaide memories in the comments, in the live chat, or in the actual comment section. The more obscure, the more random, the better. We will get to all of them. All right, Ari.
Okay,
What have you got for us,
I'm
mate?
gonna bring up far more recent, far more down my alley. Round 19, 2019, Saturday the 27th of July, 2:10 p.m.
What
38,000
round?
people at the
Sorry, what did you say? What round?
round 19, 2019.
Yeah.
38,000 people at the MCG. That's interesting. Carlton defeated Adelaide 13 goals 987 to 9 goals 660. This was our, if I recall correctly, our fourth win under David Teague in the back end of that year. Our fifth win actually with David Teague in the back end of that year. So this was probably I was going to say the pinnacle of that era. It was the best. If I recall correctly, it was probably the most euphoric feeling in that stretch of games in that second half of the year, except for the Brisbane one. What?
St Kilda.
Yeah, no, you're so right. Yeah, you're so right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. No, yeah, that is absolutely correct. Well,
I mean, this was good. This was good, but I don't
this was
think we
great.
had believed because it was like early or which win did you say it was? Win
Yeah,
5 of the year?
it was our win 6 of the year. It was our last win. It was our last win in that stretch before we lost to West Coast and Richmond, and then beat St Kilda.
Okay.
So regardless, well, the St Kilda one, we'll get to that. Okay, I'll
Yep.
rephrase. It was the most euphoric feeling to that moment,
Yeah.
probably even more than the Brisbane one. But this was, of course, the game where Patrick Cripps just went beast mode and had. Would you like to hear the stat line of
Sure.
P Cripps? 16 kicks for Marc's 23 handballs, 39 disposals, 1 goal. 7 tackles, 8 inside 50s, 19 clearances, 24 contested possessions, and very unsurprisingly, 3 Brownlow votes. Interestingly enough, so Patrick Cripps in that year recorded 26 Brownlow votes, and this is just a tidbit that I thought was quite fascinating. Patrick Cripps in that year recorded 26 Brownlow votes, and finished somewhere in the upper echelons, obviously with 26 votes. I think it might have been top 3 or top 4. Very funnily enough, he only received, if I can get this up, 8 Brownlow votes in the David Teague portion of that season.
Wow.
So he received 2/3 of his votes in arguably our worst ever period in the football club. And then when things started turning good, he only got a third of them, which I think is quite interesting. It was just quite an interesting parallel. This was one of the games in which he went kind of berserk. I think he won the clearance record for Carlton, maybe with 19 clearances.
In this game?
Yeah, 19 clearances in this game, which is, I think, a record of some sort, if not very, very close to breaking one. I think this game is remembered for a couple of things. I'll just rattle off some goal kickers for you. I'll just rattle off some goal kickers for you because I feel like this is quite funny, and maybe we can play that game of word association. So, with 3 goals of the game, Levi Casbolt, 3 goals, 15 touches, 10 hitouts.
Was this double Cobra?
Was it? I don't know. This was a snap this was goal kick on the run from 50. Handball out from a stoppage from someone, and then he's just gone bang from 50 on the run, going to the right-hand side of the broadcast at the MCG. No, I do remember that. Kate Simpson kicked the goal. I think he found himself all alone inside 50 and then kicked it, I think, maybe in the third quarter. Will Setterfield with a goal and 24 touches. Michael Gibbons with a goal and 22 touches.
Setterfield, that was like the game-sealing goal, right?
Yes.
Because he was playing on the wing a little bit.
Right foot snap, yes. Very very good commentary at the time.
From memory, he was missing those shots for the previous few weeks, and this one he nailed it.
So this is actually something that I want to bring up, and maybe we can do this. When do we verse Melbourne? Do we verse Melbourne later on in the year or relatively soon?
In the next couple of months, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm sure I'll figure out another game for that. But here's something about Will Setterfield. So the week or a couple of weeks before we versed Melbourne at the MCG, and that was the game where we were like 40 points down halfway through the second quarter, ended up coming back, and we ended up losing, right? We hit the front, we ended up losing that Zach Fisher running on the line that moment and then going up the other end, hitting the post, whatever. During that game, Will Setterfield kicked a goal to put us back within 28 points. Kicked the goal to put us back within 28 points in that game, and then kicked 2 behinds in a row, right? And then subsequently kicked the goal to put us in front. Now, the reason why this context I feel like is quite funny for this story was because it was me and my brother at that Melbourne game, and when Will Setterfield kicks that goal in the third quarter, everyone's up and about, and then he misses 2 relatively gettable shots in the back end of that third quarter, because that's when he was playing forward a little bit at that time. And this guy and the runner went up to give him the drink, right? To give him a drink of water after he'd missed one of the behinds. And a couple of rows back started screaming, why is he getting a drink when he's just missed, right? And just going off at him. Anyway, fast forward towards the back end of that game, towards the back end of that Melbourne game. Will Setterfield kicks a goal, and that same guy behind us starts yelling, "Give him a drink! Give him a drink!"
Oh, no way.
In that game. And then 2 weeks later, and obviously we go on to lose that game. And then 2 weeks later, or however it was, 3 weeks later, he kicks the sealer in probably what is one of his more crowning moments as a in a Carlton shirt, which is quite a good, nice full circle moment, I think.
That's
which is a very personal memory. But me and my brother did look at each other when he kicked that goal and goes, "That guy 3 weeks ago, 4 rows behind us, would be loving life right now." Which is a very like unique and personal story, I feel. But regardless, that obviously happened. He had how many touches did he have that game? I think it was like 24. Some other goal kickers. Harry Mackay kicked 1 goal, had 4 touches. So quiet game. But did what we needed to do. Andrew Phillips, being the number 1 ruck, kicked the goal. 35 hit outs. And then Darcy Lang with a goal. And as well as Josh DeLuca. So a lot of names in this 2019 team that kicked the goal. Looking back,
do you have any trivia for me?
Yeah, you can have some. You can certainly have some. What would you like? Okay, one player had 4 touches this game. Played 70% game time, had 4 touches, and there were 4 handballs. Who was it?
Midfielder?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
4 handballs. Midfielder. It wasn't Paddy Dow, was it?
It was Paddy Dow.
Oh, Paddy.
Oh, Paddy. Yeah, Paddy. That just kind of caught my eye there. Sam Walsh, 30 touches and 1 behind. Plough with 10 touches. Hello. What else?
I feel like he played a good game that day defensively on 2019.
3 1%ers.
Yeah. Was Eddie Betts playing for them at that point? Yeah.
Eddie Betts.
Surely. Because he came to us in 2020.
Eddie Betts did not play this game.
He didn't play this game. Okay.
No. Taylor Walker kicked 3. Tyson Stengel kicked 2 for Adelaide. Josh Jenkins kicked the goal. Paul Seidman kicked the goal. So yeah, a couple of no goal kickers for Adelaide. But yeah, what were your because this was during Bull Abroad, the beginnings of it.
Yeah, this was during the run of I'd come home. It was 4 or 5 weeks home. I remember sitting in the members zone for this game. I remember sitting at the end that Setterfield kicked the goal, but on the other side of the goals. I don't really remember much other than where I was sitting. And then I don't really remember the review, the reaction. To be honest with you, was it on YouTube? Yeah.
Live research. This was.
I don't know if I did. I must have done a review. No,
I can watch it. Here we go. This was looking back at this while you research, and maybe this is a question for Chad as well. Looking back now, I think we can all kind of laugh at our expectations heading into the next couple of years. Just listening to the names that we had in that team at that time. Like, with all due respect, I don't think looking back on it now, doing things with Josh DeLuca and Darcy Lang and Lockie Plowman and these kind of guys is realistic, with all due respect. But here we go.
I forgot about. I actually remember this game fully. Now, I was at a function this game. I met John Stanford this day. I think it was the President's Club function.
Right.
Something like that.
Nathan, hello, mate.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
How'd you enjoy the day?
Not bad. Good.
Yeah?
Nice.
We were enjoying that.
Were you enjoying that? Oh, I don't know how much we wanted to give about that.
No.
Back then, we did a thing called Live. it wasn't called the fan. I don't know why I didn't call it the fan cams. Do you want to see?
Do I?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess we're seeing.
It was before we were using StreamYard. We were using Ecamm Live at the time.
Can you hear me, mate? Okay. Dane's here. Lads, bring on West Coast. Tommy.
Yeah, the boys.
How's it going, fella?
Oh, no, it's just crazy, isn't it? Can we play Adelaide every week?
Okay, stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
You get the gist.
Oh yeah, we get the idea. We get the idea.
We get
the idea.
We
What a
get it.
time.
Wow, come a long way. Come a long way.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Okay, yeah, very much so.
So,
Yeah, 2019. What a time.
mhm.
What a time. But yeah,
Is
there
it
you
time
go.
to go through some people's memories?
let's go. Let's have a browse.
Let's do it. All right, guys, it's your turn. What are your memories? I'm going to bring up some others as well. But what are your memories? I saw Chris Beach had one. He put it up. He put it up here. So please detail with as much as you can. Chris Beach, for today's reflections against Adelaide Crows, my choices are 1998 at Footy Park or Amy Stadium, where we won by under a goal. The second game, I'm choosing the 2001 elimination final at the MCG, KOing the Crows. I didn't realize we played the Crows in the finals that year. There you go.
Yeah, I won, and then we lost to Richmond the next week.
Richmond.
I think.
Okay, yeah, that must have been when the injuries happened to Cooter and Sauce potentially.
Was it? Or was that 2000? No, 2000 we lost to Melbourne, I think. Oh God, I don't know. I'm too young to be correcting people on games out before I was born.
1993, Johnny Holden, final out at VFL Park, the Harry Madden goal. He took Josh, so youngest son, elder son, who was 3.5, sitting next to the Crows cheer squad and them cheering. Josh stood up and yelled back, "Shut the fuck up." Love that. Love that. That's brilliant.
VFL Park. That's Waverley, yeah? Right? I think so.
VFL Park, yeah, I think so.
Have you been to that, just quickly? Have you been, like, now, since it's no longer a thing?
No, I went there probably 10 years ago to watch VFLW didn't exist, but I went and watched a women's game. A friend of mine was coaching a team. It was like a Melbourne Uni team, and I went and watched them play.
It's one of the more visually striking things I've ever seen when you're just driving through a bunch of houses and you just see this massive stand. It's striking. But yeah, if that was in a better place, I think that would 100. If that was located in a far better place, that would 100% be what Marvel is right now. But
yeah, another one here. Round 1, 1994, Modra kicked 13 goals on Silvani.
It was pretty handy that Modra, by all accounts.
Yep. What about this one? Round 22, 2009, we kicked 7 goals in the first quarter and we're looking good. Unfortunately, by the end, Adelaide kicked 27 goals and belted us by 72 points. Also, Brett Burton took Mark of the Year. I remember that. I remember that commentary.
I remember the mark and the game, I know of the game. But I
didn't realize we kicked 7 goals in the first quarter and still lost by 72. I forgot that.
That seems absurd.
Wow.
Yeah, no, we did. We absolutely did. We were only 5 goals up only 5 points up at quarter time, but 27 goals, 14, 176. Any danger of some defense, brats? Apparently not. Kicked 104 points and still lost. Jesus Christ.
Wow. 1993, semi-final at Waverley Park. Bradley kicked 5 goals and Justin Harry Madden kicked a goal from outside 50. That was the one that Johnny just said. I did consider bringing this one up. Last round of the season, getting belted by the Crows by triple digits. You know what I noticed going back and watching 2018 footage?
Okay.
We, as supporters, thought that they were giving effort like there was no real application defensively with the way they ran. I noticed the running power so much more now.
which is bizarre considering the fact that Bolts was criticized for an overly defensive game plan, and the scores we were conceding at times during that period where it was obscene.
Yeah. Mick Brazel played Oz kick in Carlton versus Adelaide game at Optus Oval 2000. Carlton let Adelaide kick 8 goals in the last quarter. Wow. Here's another one. 95. Princess Park down by 20 points and came out in the third and kicked 12 goals to 4 in the second half. Wow.
I'm saying there round 10, 2014. That is an unbelievable. Do you know this game? Do you remember this game?
Round 10, 2014.
MCG Sunday night.
Yeah.
440 MCG. Charlie Cameron has a mark with on the siren and he drops it from 50.
Okay.
Going back. Those highlights are definitely still on YouTube somewhere. Going back
I
and
want to
looking
play
at
them, but
that,
I think we'll get copyrighted. You know.
I think you'll get done. Yeah, I think you'll get done.
Yeah. That's what I'm mindful.
I think Sloan breaks away from a stoppage late, doesn't give the handball, gets done holding the ball. We get the clearance out with like 5 seconds to go, and Dangerfield just loose, kicks the ball inside 50. I think it might have been Daisy coming over the top of Charlie Cameron, or maybe I can't remember who it was. I think it was Dennis Armfield coming over the top of Charlie Cameron, spoiling it. If he held that mark, he has a shot to win him the game because we won the game by 5 points. With like on the siren. That is a game I remember watching as a 10-year-old. Yeah.
Wow, 2014. Yeah, that one's slipped through my memory bank for sure.
That put us 4-5 for the season.
Okay.
2014.
Yeah. Wow. What about the recent ones? What do you? Wait. We're different. We are similar supporters, but we are the different supporters for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
What do you remember about 2020?
I remember being very angry.
Why?
Because if we'd won that game, it at least would have given us a little bit of false hope heading into the last round. That finals was still technically possible, I think.
Correct.
And I also think couple that with the GWS game, which I think was the week before, which that second half was horrendous. The Collingwood game, which was horrendous. It was a kind of a culmination of just frustration, pure frustration, because I felt like we were so close. And the start of 2020, like, okay, the Richmond game was bad, but probably should have beat Melbourne, beat Geelong, beat Essendon. That game against Port Adelaide, even though we lost, we go, Port Adelaide ended up making a prelim. We were there till the very end. That was an awesome game to watch. So it felt like we were right there. And then when we go up and beat Gold Coast in the NT, I think it was, it goes like, we're right there. And then it would just slowly petered out. And then it felt like that Adelaide game was a massive knife straight through. And I was like, that's it, which was the most frustrating bit, I think.
Yeah. I reflected on it a lot.
And I was so mentally checked out of that game that I did not care about what happened with Gibbs at all. And I still don't really care.
I think it was because of the way in which we let him do whatever he wanted that day, and we didn't have that competitive edge. Like, carry him off after you've beaten his ass all game.
What did he have that game?
Mate, he had like 13 possessions in the first quarter from memory.
He had, he had 27 touches, 7 rebound 50s. So I don't.
It was just a dark moment for me, a dark day, and I don't know. Sometimes things are bigger than footy, and I do get that. And I don't want to be like a Gibbs hater, because I did love Gibbs, but at the same time, not that day. Not in the way. I was more angry in the way in which they let him do whatever they wanted, and the image of it just made me think of a team that just didn't have that competitive edge, ruthlessness about them.
Do you still care now?
It still pisses me off today. Yeah, it does.
Really?
Yeah, it does.
I genuinely couldn't care less, right? Like
It
now.
annoys me. It does annoy me.
Because that's not us anymore.
Yeah, I
That's
know,
not
and I'm
that's not
grateful.
us.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, does it affect me now in the sense of like, am I mad? When you ask me about it, I'm mad, but I don't really care.
That it
you know?
happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get that. I get that. What about last year?
I would be curious if it were to happen with this team.
I agree. Yeah, okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Do you think it would?
No. No, I don't think it would.
Why?
I think okay, I'll answer this and then I'll return with the question. I don't think it would happen with the same because I think the standard of the game day has lifted. And what I mean by that is in 2020, it felt like we would float in and out of concentration and being switched on within the game. And I also think that translates to within the game day itself, like the 24 hours of the day. Whereas I think now it feels like we are switched on all the time. And I think that translates to the preparation. And I also think if we were in that situation, it would translate to after that game as well, if that makes sense.
No, it does. I mean, I've reflected on, did we go a little too hard, back then on the fan cams and the supporters and things like that. And when I look back and I watch some of the old reviews, I think to myself, the thing that I remember crying out about was the thing that we were pointing out was this lack of defensive application, which I think looking back is not wrong.
Yeah, I do tend to agree. I don't think looking back now, and I think probably because of the way 2022 and 2023 unfolded, I think as a fan base we were horrendously blinded by how good we were. Like looking back now, I don't think finals was anywhere near the possibility in 2020. I don't think.
True. That's a good point.
And probably
True.
more so if it was a regular season. I think the fact that it was a shortened season and the 18 games and playing here then everywhere probably makes that a completely different story. 2021, I also think we weren't as good as what we thought. And I think we needed because even just look at the names that we were playing, like with all due respect to these guys, like it's just night and day difference. So I think when you look back at those games, being angry at the application, which doesn't take any talent, I think is the right way of kind of addressing it.
So do you think we were projecting more than what we were living in reality back then?
Yeah. And the question I wanted to ask is, if we had won that game, well, would you have cared?
Not as much, because it was their attitude. It was their attitude on that day that pissed me off more than anything.
Yeah,
and the way that they approached that game.
Yeah, so if we had come out, kicked 7 goals in the first, okay, if we had done what they did to us,
if we had played if we had played with the hunger that we do now and lost, and then I mean, it's hard to say what would I have done if it was. I don't know. I can give you a guess, but I don't know. But I just remember being more angry at the fact that finals was on the line. We'd had some pretty poor losses that year. I think also lockdown maybe was a part of it. We're just a frustrated group of humans. And unfortunately, sometimes that can spill over to the playing group, which is unfair. I don't know.
It's the release of everything.
Yeah.
Which they have to burden, which is one of the very unfortunate things of that situation.
Maybe I just didn't love Gibbs as much as other people did as a player. I mean, I enjoyed him, but like for me, he just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think we got the best of what I thought we were getting.
I think because he is a calm man, I think.
For sure.
And it says a lot about the club that all the players during that shit period are still calm men. Like even the small things of players like Daniel Gorringe, right, who had no connection to Carlton prior to him coming, and he came for 1 year when we were garbage, and he still cares about the club in the way that he does. Players like people like Nick Graham and even Gibbs and Murph and these guys who the club didn't help them during their careers.
Good point. I should probably be more frustrated at the club because of what's the balance between the players that come through and their attitude towards their footy and then the culture of the club and the environment in which they're allowed to operate within?
Yeah, and I also think it's frustrating because where their history and the lineage and the prestige and the culture that has been set for hundreds of years, and for not, it feels like we're out of it now, right? It feels like we're out of that.
It feels like the seriousness of the playing group and the coaching and the club is where it needs to be. Whether that means a premiership, I don't know. But I look back now and it's hard to, I'm not having a personal dig at some of these names, but some of the characters that have come through the club, you just look back and they've even admitted it now on their own podcast. Like, they just took the piss when they were playing. Like that's a blight. That's a blight on the recruiting for bringing in these names.
It's not. Yeah, it's
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, those people don't owe the Carlton Football Club anything.
And they're given so much. They're given so much, and they continue to be given so much. And then they take the piss out of. I don't know.
But I also think it's the fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me.
Well, as a fan, you always fooled.
I'm talking more from a club perspective.
Yeah.
Like if one person comes in and, like, using it like a kind of on a micro scale, if one person comes in and takes the piss, it's like, okay, just one bad egg in and amongst a bunch of fine people. If another person does that, you're like, okay. A third person does that, you're like, all right. It felt like we had 45 people across the space of 20 years who just weren't up to it on a variety of different levels. So you can't sit there and go, there was just 45 bad people and the club was actually all right. It's like, okay, there's a common denominator here. Like there was something deep rooted within the whole industry or within the whole kind of.
That's why I was so worried about the group 2021, because I was like, oh my God, like it may have infiltrated into that next crop, Cripps, Walsh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is this just a perpetual cycle of like bad culture? And I guess it just goes to show how hard it is to change culture.
It took a head coach, CEO, and president all change within 2 weeks. That's radical change. Voss, Sayers, Cook, all within 2 weeks of each other in the off season of 21.
Yeah,
that is as radical changes, and even still in 2022, there was still inclinations of the past, and only now, 2.5 years later, really, we're starting to see the betterment of it in a sense.
When we're going, I don't know about you, I go into games now like this week, fully respect Adelaide, but if we are at our best, we will beat them. Yes.
And we, once again, with all due respect, win well. Which it's what being a good footy team is, right? Good footy club, even.
A good club.
Team, a good
more
club.
importantly.
Yes, I agree.
Wow, that was good.
That was great.
Yeah, that was good. It got deep. All right.
Got really introspective.
Yeah. So, ladies and gents, thanks for tuning in. Ari, thanks for being here. That was good.
Thank you for having me once again. That was
predictions for Saturday.
Yeah, I'm always like we just mentioned. If we're serious and if we're for real, should rock up, get the 4 points, do it comfortably. But I feel like forward of the ball, Adelaide always do have threats. But if we give them the respect, we should win by anything more than a 5-goal win. I'll certainly take.
Cool.
Yep.
I like it. Okay. I've got us by 38.
Yeah.
So that's that.
It's a bit right. Quickly, one storyline quickly, because you always you like to whip these out.
Charlie back in form, 6 goals.
Love it. I'll go Walsh on return, 34 and a goal.
True.
Lovely.
I'm about to go do the team selection show on the Pommy and Oz YouTube channel. Then I will be back on the BA channel to do the Navy Blue Corner show. So I'll see some of you in the chat.
So much content.
All night, yeah. So much content.
Love it.
All right, guys. Go Blues.
Go Blues.